Not the TV guide.
Not the TV guide.
Amanda,
Andy,
what are we doing tonight?
we're doing not the TV guide, but it's a special episode.
Yes, it is indeed. Grant, before we go
It's
into reason
incredible.
why is it a special episode? What is not the TV guide?
Well, TV, not a TV guide is the latest and greatest TV podcast available on all digital streaming platforms. And it is, we are normally talk about what the month's TV is and what we've been watching, but we decided because we're such big Doctor Who fans, and obviously we're enjoying watching this new series, we'll thought do a special because there's so much to talk about. And yeah, lots of debates that hopefully to go around. So yes, we're all looking forward to talking about it today.
Yes, now there's not just three of us today, but we have a guest. Yes, we have a wonderful guest with us now. Beth, I'm going to let you introduce yourself to everybody because it's your first time you've been with us today. And it's a pleasure because we've known you on the post circuit a year or two now. But I know you're a massive Doctor Who fan and you do your own podcast as well. So obviously, tell us who you are then and what your podcast is.
Yes, so I do my own Doctor Who podcast. Yes, so hi, I'm Beth. I am a freelance entertainment journalist. I write for a couple of different magazines like Starburst magazine on sci-fi and horror, and courtesy of Starburst mag, I also have my own podcast dedicated to Doctor Who, the Doctor Who Blue Box podcast. So yeah, we've had a very busy couple of months, weekly episodes of that, so that's been quite intense, and yeah, been really exciting talking all things Doctor Who though, and I'm really excited to be on with you guys, kind of giving a roundup of the series.
Yes, now people are clever enough, they'll go and check Beth's wonderful podcast, so they will notice Grant was a special guest on there a couple of weeks ago as well. See, so this is like bringing everything into a complete circle. Now, the plan we're going to do today is, obviously, after the last episode or two of Not the TV Guide, which had some pretty explicit material in it, and it wasn't most Beth could be reviewed the first three episodes of The Boys, and that was
Right.
colourful, to put it nicely.
Yeah.
So I can't. I'm going to promise you, we're going to see if we can keep the language a bit cleaner today. But we do have a set of favourite subheading in this podcast called Grant's Rants. So I don't think it will happen. So now, what we're going to do today, everybody's wondering, we're going to have a talk about all 8 episodes of the current season of Doctor Who. So there'll be a lot of me passing the mic around people, everybody talk about it. And at the end of each episode, we're going to try and mark it out of 10. And we'll see if me and Amanda are still a married couple at the end of it. I'm not sure yet on this. So, right, okay. We're going to start off at episode 1, Space Babies. Amanda, what did you like about Space Babies?
I loved it. I thought it was really cute and sweet. I can see why certain people might not, because it is a bit too sweet, a bit sickly in places, but for just maybe one episode, I think it worked. I'm not sure of the whole series.
Yeah, that's the point. Now, obviously, what I tend to normally do, if people wondering here today, is my first time after Beth's on, I tend to make a couple of notes to give a layout or outline of the episode. And the episode is the Doctor takes Ruby to a space station in the future, orbiting another planet. After discovering a monster in the station's lower decks, the pair discover a crew of talking babies operating the ship in the upper levels. I don't even know where to start with this episode, so... Beth, what have you also guessed, and what did you think of this episode? And don't if you thought there's an absolute bag of shit, just say it.
I did think it was an absolute bag of... No, I'm gonna say that I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna say the positives first, because there were things that I liked about this episode. So I did like the fact that it was obviously trying to comment on sort of subtly, not so subtly comment on, the abortion debate that's going on in the US at the moment, with the idea that they allow these babies to be born, but then they don't look after them once they're actually alive. And there was also obviously comments about, the plight of refugees, which I thought was really nice but I don't know whether perhaps those things were a bit sort of heavy-handed in comparison to previous episodes of Doctor Who that we've had that have kind of brought political things in a little bit more subtly. I felt like it was kind of a little bit more obvious, which I guess it needed to be in some ways if they were going to bring that in, but it wasn't done quite as smoothly as perhaps other sort of political digs have been done. But I did like that was in there. But yeah, as an overall episode, I just thought the whole concept of it was so it was so poorly done. I mean, it was the writing for me just was not. I think because I know what Russell T Davies is capable of. That's the thing. I think, you know, we know from when Russell T Davies brought the series back in 2005 that he's capable of better than that. So it was just a bit disappointing for me.
Yeah, I'm definitely on the same line as you, Beth, for that one, aren't you? So because it was a case of when the trouble is when you're watching the episode with your wife and she's absolutely loving it, saying, the dead cute. And I'm sat there thinking, this is absolutely bloody awful. He wrote this. I got the satire element, but it's awful. Anyway, listen, it is what it is. So I hated it. I wouldn't want to watch it again, but I wouldn't wish harm on all the babies. So, Grant, give us some more positiveness of it then.
I don't know if it's because I'm quite, is irony gone mad for me that it's so bad it's brilliant, like my love for Jar Jar Binks or something.
Wrong podcast, move on.
Yeah, it's kind of like I did really enjoy it when I first watched it. The more I think about it, I do love it. I just think it's such a mental idea, and they didn't pull any punches with how silly it went, especially with like the whole bogeyman as the villain.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. I just like the term space baby. It's quite amusing, isn't it? Like I do like the fact that the doctor just said it constantly, space baby. You can't just say it normally, you have to go space baby. So
one thing I did quite like though was because I think it might have been like the only part in the episode that actually really made me laugh was when the doctor kind of kept scaring the babies. So, you know, Ruby's there kind of trying to be the responsible babysitter, and then she's like, there is absolutely nothing to worry about, and then he's like, the Pokemon, like, scaring them. It would just really make me laugh because it was almost like intrusive thoughts coming through, and it was just very, very doctory because it's like, you know, simultaneously the best and the worst babysitter you could ever have, and it just really tickled me that because I was just like, it was a glimpse of kind of almost like Peter Capaldi's Doctor or Matt Smith's Doctor. You know, I can imagine one of them doing that, you know, just sort of deliberately scaring the kids and kind of finding it quite hilarious.
Yeah, I'm going to have some different opinions in a minute, but it kind of, we were talking about this on the podcast previously, Beth. I did mention it reminded me of the Meep in some ways, with the cute element on it with the first episode pack. And then it made me think of that one with Sarah Lancaster. The
adipose. Yeah.
That was definitely that element in it as meat as well. There was, and I got the satire in that as well. I don't know if I didn't enjoy it still. So, Amanda, give us some more positivity then.
No, I just want to adopt a space baby.
Oh, it's fair enough. Well, there's nothing much I can say about it. I felt, to be honest with you, I thought it was I thought the two leads were brilliant in it, to be honest with you. There's no to it. Even though I had doubts about the episode, I liked the chemistry straight away, and I thought it followed on well from, obviously, the Christmas episode. So,
when Ruby got covered in bogey, that was quite horrible.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Even when sat at home watching that, you're just thinking, oh, you felt a bit sick, didn't you?
Yeah, it was a bit.
All that space baby bogey.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, so I'm getting sick thinking about that. So, right, we're marking it out of 10 then, obviously. Amanda, what are you giving us out of 10?
10.
3.
3. That's horrible.
Beth?
I'm gonna give it a 5, I would say. I'm reluctant to rank lower than that, but yeah, probably fairly low rank.
Grant, what are you giving this one out of 10?
Well, I'll give the concept of Space Babies 11 out of 10 because I love them so much. But I'll actually give the episode a 7. I just think it was quite, it's quite it was an easy watch. I mean, it's just nothing like too spectacular. It's okay. I think it gets away with just being an opening episode. Just being all right. But as I said, the lead actors were just great in it, and it made you want to watch more. So yeah, I give it a 7.
Okay. Then, obviously, when it was launched in the UK, of course, which were all fun, they had 2 episodes at the same time, which I hadn't seen them do before, to be honest. That was something new to me.
Right.
So it kind of made sense that the second episode was quite different, also wrote by Russell T Davies, called The Devil's Chord. And in The Devil's Chord, in 1925, a music teacher shows his student the triad, or the Devil's Chord, which summons a being called Maestro, who kills the teacher by consuming the music from his heart. Then we move into the 1960s. So, Grant, what did you like about this episode then?
What I liked about the episode was I liked the whole character of the Maestro. I thought she was a great villain, really cool. Something you've not really seen before in Doctor Who as well. It was more of a fantastical, wasn't it, villain? And I quite like the way she conjured music, and you kind of saw the notes and wrap herself around Rudy. And he was actually a bit of a genuine threat. Doctor didn't really know how to deal with her. So I thought that was really good fun. I also liked it being set in the 60s. I thought the costumes were cool. Less said about the dancing at the end, but I thought overall it was probably a more interesting episode than the pre. I mean, I like seeing the Beatles in there. I think they're a bit underused, sadly, in the episode. But I like seeing Cilla Black and George Martin and all that. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, as I said, it was more entertaining, I think, than Space Babies. But and I think the highlight was the character was called Jinx, is it? Who played Maestro. I thought she was just great as a really cool character. Yeah,
I really enjoyed her character. I thought she really had a nice, vibrant energy in it. Very Russell T Davies, actually. I felt, with sort of colourful characters on it. I'll go on to Beth next. And Beth, what did you think of this episode?
Yeah, so I definitely enjoyed it more than Space Babies, but I don't know if that's saying much, really. And I just think this was kind of a step too far for me. Like, I enjoyed the toy maker, so I'm not saying you can never bring those kind of quirky elements in, and you can't have a big flamboyant villain, because I did really enjoy the toy maker and I thought Neil Patrick Harris did that perfectly. But Maestro, I have to say, was a step too far for me. I think just it was a bit overdone with the musical notes hanging in the air, and my overwhelming thought was just kind of, for an episode that's meant to be focused on the Beatles, or at least implied that it was going to be heavily focused on the Beatles, we didn't actually really get to see much of the Beatles, and I kind of felt like I wanted more of that, more of the historical side of it, and less of Maestro and this kind of big plot, which then never really seemed to go anywhere.
Yes, was my major criticism on it, John. That was, I wanted more of the Beatles in it, John. I had just showed you good my memories. I'd forgotten Cilla Black was in it as well as the characters, so that made no impact on me. But you're right, I wanted more of the Beatles. So, Amanda, what do you think? Did you agree? Do you agree with me? You wanted more of the Beatles in it?
Yeah, I agree. There should have been more. I think they could have done a lot more with them. But my unpopular opinion is I actually like the song at the end. I think it was bad, but in a good way.
Oh, it seemed like it went on forever to me, that song.
I can't imagine any of the other doctors pulling it off like that.
No, exactly.
I think the problem was, it was a decent song, but it shouldn't be, like, Doctor Who's not a musical, I'm sorry. Like, it was a good song in its own right, but just very out of place, because they did that in the Church on Ruby Road in the Christmas special as well, when they start singing. And it's like, since when has Doctor Who been a musical where everyone bursts into song? I mean, I'm not saying it's not a catchy song, but it's kind of, there's a time and a place.
Yeah, no, and he also had it in the Toymaker episode as well, didn't you? When he came on, was it? Did Spice Girls?
Spice Up Your Life,
Spice Up Your Life.
I didn't mind, though. I didn't mind that, because that was meant to be the Toymaker singing along to it, and it was playing over the speakerphone. it wasn't a musical number. It was just meant to be like,
Yeah.
we've had that with the Master as well, when the Master starts, dancing around, mouthing along to a song that's playing over the speaker. Like, if it's playing over the speaker, that's fine. But just actually having a musical moment is a bit kind of, since when? So it's like...
Yeah, no, it's, and I was looking at the time on that. I thought to myself, there's about 5 minutes spare here. I thought, oh, what are they going to do? Are they going to do some big teaser the rest of the series? And I thought, oh no, they're doing a bloody musical number. Oh God. Amanda's the expert in musical numbers because one of their favourite TV programs is the musical episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, right, yeah.
Amanda, would you like to see a musical episode of Doctor Who doing that style?
It'd have to be something along the lines of what they did with Buffy, where there's an actual reason for them bursting into song.
Yeah, it's funny. It's a bit odd. It left me a bit nonplussed, but yeah, I think the point everyone was raised, I agree with it. I wanted more Beagles in it. Plain and simply, wanted more Beagles in it. Oh, if Russell T Davies is tuning into this, Russell, please do a set episode next season just about the Beagles.
Yeah. Because I was thinking what kind of plots they could do with the Beatles, and I was thinking, there's all that rumor about Paul McCartney dying in the 60s. You've heard of that? And
yes.
I thought like maybe he'll get shot by a Dalek or something, and then they have to like replace him or something, and then John has to come up with a way to make them work or something. I don't know. I thought something like they could have typed into that a bit, but yeah, it was a shame because they didn't really. But then again, the Beatles song that was terrible at the beginning was quite catchy. I thought, the one about the dog, I quite liked it.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. That was pretty bad. Yeah, it's point, honestly, a point still. Okay, let's move on then. So, okay, everybody, let's give this a mark out of 10 then. Beth, I'll start with you this time.
So I gave this one a 6 because I definitely enjoyed it more than Space Babies, but I still didn't think it was the strongest. Could possibly go to 6.5, maybe at a push.
I'll do a 7. I'll do a 7. Okay. I think after Space Babies, it couldn't have gone much bloody worse than me, to be honest with you. But Amanda.
8.
And Grant?
I'll give it 7.5 just because I enjoyed seeing Shirley and Johannes from Strictly at the end. That made me happy. But yeah, the song it probably might have been better if the song had been on there, maybe an extra half point. But yeah, but no, 7.5.
Fair enough. Yeah. Now after that, obviously we're on to episode 3 now. This is where moving my camera along. Yeah, this is where it just goes completely in a different direction now. Boom, wrote by the return of Stephen Moffat. This was interesting, certainly. And obviously, it's after the TARDIS lands on the war-torn planet of, I hope I pronounced this right, Castian 3. The Doctor accidentally steps on a landmine. Grant, we'll let you start on this time.
This one, yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was better than the first two. It was kind of, it was going in more of a positive direction, I think, for the series overall. I thought it was a really good idea. I liked the idea. It was quite tense, and I was quite on edge of my seat sometimes, especially with when one of the soldiers got involved in it, and I was just like, I was just kind of like, my heart rate was going up a bit watching it. Yeah, but I thought it was well done. It probably wasn't the greatest story ever told, but I thought it was a good concept and it was done really well. And I liked the characters of the soldiers. I thought they were quite cool, but they were like dog collars. I thought they were quite an interesting kind of subgroup. Yeah, so I thought it was a good episode. It was really much a showcase of the Doctor. Really, I thought he was really. It was just using his brain, wasn't he? And he's it wasn't like he was just showing his brains again, just how clever he is to get out of this situation. It was pretty much, I would have just given up after 2 seconds if I was in that situation. I would have said, "That's it, I'm done." And then when he was saying he's gonna, if he explodes, it would just wipe out the planet. Yeah, it was made real good threat. So yeah, I thought it was a really interesting episode.
Yeah, same for me as well. It was. I've got a question for Beth here, with Beth being the journalist among us. Is there any truth in the story going around, Beth, that this episode was rewrote quite late on, almost completely by Stephen Moffat?
So I know Stephen Moffat wrote it. I hadn't heard about it being rewritten late on. But I personally, I absolutely loved it because this is exactly the kind of writing that I always enjoyed from Stephen Moffat, and it was a really kind of refreshing moment for me after the first 2 episodes, because I was really like, oh god, this series is not going in a good direction after the first couple of episodes, and then this happened and I was like, well done, that Moffat, yes, bring it back, you know, like he's because I haven't been, much as I love Russell T Davies, I haven't been the most impressed with his writing this series. I think Stephen Moffat with that episode kind of tied things up a lot better and gave a lot more of a cohesive story than a lot of the other episodes written by RTD have. So I loved it.
Me too as well, Jen. I know exactly what you mean with that. I always love him. The fact is, like, all the 2-parters of it on the Sargent in the Library story, then obviously the infamous one with Grant's girlfriend in it.
Oh, Carrie Mulligan.
Yeah, Carrie Mulligan.
I'm getting confused. There's so many. Doctor Who girlfriends. Yeah. Jenna Coleman.
Oh, you like her, do you? I didn't know that, right?
I know she's pregnant. Congratulations.
We're off to the big Comic Con actually in Manchester in a couple of weeks' time. We're going to see another Doctor Who's babes, aren't we, Amanda? You don't like?
Bonnie
I'm
Langford.
not a big fan.
Yeah.
Who? Jack Barrowman.
No, I'm gonna let Amanda say because I forgot her name now. Mine's completely.
I forgot it.
Anyway, we're hopeless. Anyway, let's move on. Right. So, okay, Amanda, what did you like about this episode?
I've completely lost my train of thought. No, I didn't hate this, but I thought it was a lot slower paced than the first 2. And I think it doesn't help the fact that you know deep down that the Doctor's not going to get blown up, and because there won't be much of a series after that, would there?
I know it's one of those ones where I think they set a precedent for it straight away, where he couldn't move, and it was like it felt weird because you're looking at it where there wasn't a lot necessarily landscape movement in the actual episode really. It was just him obviously stood on the mine for nearly all of it. And you were sat there thinking, I thought, has the budget ran out this episode, 3rd episode? Well, this is the one that they did last minute. But yeah, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I did. Because Moffat, when he does a really good episode, he's spot on it with me. And that was a fantastic episode. Absolutely loved it. Now, I have got to ask the 3 of you, and ask you all 3 of you, one after one. How did you all feel about this surprise appearance of the forthcoming new Doctor's assistant in it? And Beth, I'll start with you.
So I didn't actually realise it was her at first until until Kieran, my co-host on my podcast, pointed it out. And I didn't realise it was her when I was first watching it. But interesting. I don't know if it's going to be related or whether it is just that she's the same actress playing a completely different character. It'd be interesting if they were related, the 2 characters, and it's meant to be like a descendant or something, or you know, something of that ilk. But yeah, interesting.
Yeah, he's got a history doing that with Gemma Coleman, hasn't he? Because he brought her in on Karen Gillian, who I've got a name now, me and Amanda are going to be meeting in a couple of weeks' time.
Oh, cool.
And it's like, he did it with Gemma Coleman, and it was like, and I thought to myself, that's interesting. We didn't know Amanda until afterwards, did we, ourselves in that one?
No.
It was like very low key, and he's got a history in that, Moffat. And I thought he must have obviously cleared it with RTD straight away. They must have agreed on that immediately. And I thought it was a brave move, and I thought, interesting. So, right, I think I've covered everybody here, haven't we? So, right, is there anything else everyone needs to say in this episode before we move on?
No.
I liked the return of the kind of the church, and the church being an army, and I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, that was cool.
The moment when Ruby's like, oh, so, since when has the church been an army? And the Doctor's like, well, for most of your history, you're living in a lull period, which is a good point actually. So I liked that, and obviously the whole thoughts and prayers thing was really creepy and really really current with, obviously that's what everyone says with like school shootings and things, and it's a bit like, what are thoughts and prayers doing in reality at this moment? Not a lot.
Good point. So right, I think we'll move on then. But again, I loved it myself. So okay, I'll mark this one off. I'll give this a 9 out of 10 because it was my favourite episode at that point. So, Amanda.
I'm giving it a 6.
Oh, boo, boo. Grant, what were you giving this one out of 10?
I'll give it an 8. Yeah, it was the best one of the 3s. Yeah, so yeah.
And Beth?
Yeah, I gave it an 8 because I think I just like it when Doctor Who's a bit grittier and a bit darker, to be honest. I do like the humour, but I much prefer episodes like this when it's a bit more real.
Yeah, it was definitely real. So, okay. The other trick you always used to Doctor Who, obviously, when Russ Stephen Davis was originally, was obviously that I have episodes when the Doctor is barely in it. And this is what happened in episode number 4. Obviously, with 73 yards. I thought this was really, really interesting episode. So we'll start off with Beth this time. Beth, what did you like about this episode?
So I thought it was just a very, very kind of intriguing, entertaining, mysterious episode in so many ways. Obviously, I really, really enjoyed it. Obviously with the kind of the small town and sort of the humor around that myth and legend, and they're like, oh, what do you take us for? We're not that remote and all of that, And so there was a lot of good things, but then I also just felt it was massively, massively let down by the ending for me.
Yeah,
if it had been wrapped up properly, then it would have been a phenomenal episode. But for me, it was such an anticlimax and didn't make sense, and it just kind of totally let the episode down, unfortunately.
I have to agree with that, to be honest with you. You said straight away, Beth, that the first half an hour of it was like watching Doctor Who do an American Werewolf in London, who look up as a human. I was actually hooked on this, thinking, I thought this could actually outdo the third last episode, and the last 5 to 10 minutes it blew it a bit for me, so which was a massive shame. So, Grant, can you be more positive?
No, yeah, I really loved it. I think it's one of my favourites of the series. Me and Beth talked about it on that was the episode I was on the Blue Box podcast with, and we went very in depth, didn't we? And did a quiz as well on it.
Oh wow!
Yeah, Beth always does a quiz at the end, and I didn't do too badly, but I didn't do great either. So they were like, it was. I thought it was good. We went on a bit of deep dive about the theories of it, and it was an episode that really stuck with me for a long time. I thought about what was really going on, what was to do with that fairy circle, what is the magic behind it, and it was quite an interesting concept, and I thought it was really well done. I like the kind of years and years vibe of it, going every 5 years and something else terrible happens, and just the kind of like she had everything terrible happen to her, but she still never gave up. It was a real like one of those episodes that really shows how great the companion is, which is always a great thing to do, and that was really cool about it. But yeah, some of the things that really stick with my mind are when she put glasses on, she turned 40. That was my favourite moment. That really made me laugh. And also I had an idea in my head where when they said they couldn't be apart from her for like 73 yards, you could never go on holiday or anything like that. I thought the idea, if she ever went in a plane and you could just see this old lady flying past in the air, like a super grand or something. I had that in my head a lot. They should have proved it or something like that. But so I thought it was really cool. I thought it was, as I like the kind of like real horror at the beginning of it. I'm with Beth as well. I think the ending let it down slightly, but I still think overall it was a very, very good episode. It was really engrossing, and I thought it was great.
Yeah, Amanda.
Yeah, I liked how creepy it was, and like I saw the comparison with American Werewolf in London as well a little bit, especially in the pub. It was a bit like, we don't like outsiders.
Yeah. That was he definitely wrote that in mind. He had that line there straight away. I thought, anyway, Amanda, sorry, go on.
Yeah, apart from that, I thought it was a bit strange and it could have been creepier, but I like my creepy stuff. So.
Yeah. The thing that got me was, you think about it, after having 2 quite light-ish and fluffy episodes, then we went into like 2 pretty horror episodes, really. And it was a bit of a change in tone, because it wasn't what I was expecting. Obviously, after having the previous episode about Boom, then it kind of was, this was a kind of another quite gritty horror one. And I thought myself, it was a bit of a surprise, but again, I loved it. So you're right, it's the ending let me down a little bit, but yeah, can't fault it. It was a decent episode. Yeah, and I think it was the first episode really where it started giving some quite big hints what was coming at the end of the season, which we will come on to shortly. So, because there was 2-3 things I remember off that. So, did you both all like seeing the unit having a brief cameo in it as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, was
Yeah, that was cool. I like the disengage line. That was quite cool. I like that.
Yeah, me too as well. So yeah, okay. Let's get this marked up, and we will then take a quick break, everybody, because this episode is going on, and I knew it would, right? So, okay, I'll start off this time. I'm going to give this 8 because I really did enjoy this. It would have got a 10 for the last 5 minutes, to be honest with you. So, Amanda,
7.
Grant,
9. I really liked it.
ooh, and Beth.
Yeah, I'm gonna say sort of 7.5, 8. I just thought the ending just let it down so much because to me, I was just a bit like, well, if the mysterious woman has just been her the whole time, then how is she able to travel back in time? How is she managing to always remain 73 yards away from herself? What could she possibly have said to make people run away screaming, particularly her own mother and a dodgy politician? Like it just so many things just didn't make sense. And for something that Russell T Davies said is the best thing that he's ever written, I was a bit like, well, I can think of many other things you've written that are much better than this, mate.
Did he say that? Oh wow!
Yeah,
I didn't know
he
that
said
one.
he said before the episode that he thought it was one of the best things he'd ever written, and I was like, is it? Like, I can definitely think of better things that you've written, Russell. Like,
Space Baby.
Oh, don't start that. Meep. That's all I'm going to say to you, Grant. Right? Oh, dear. It makes you wonder sometimes with him whether he's just likes winding press up and stuff like this sometimes because he's a bugger for that. But yeah, anyway. Right, okay. What we're going to do, people, yeah, unfortunately, this is going to be 2 parts. So, because we are going to go over an hour here without a 30-second break. So, see you all next time.
Not the TV guide.
Not the TV guide.